Blog Talk Radio.
Your balls are showing.
There are two types of balls. There are big brave balls, and there are little meat balls. Dicks have drive and clarity of vision.
The most important piece of equipment is called the cup. Now, it ain't no Dixie cup, and it ain't no coffee mug. And you certainly won't want to be drinking nothing out of it.
Hey, any balls down there? That's the biggest berry you ever seen, Dingleberry.
Wow, I play with these balls all day.
Well, it's my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Big Balls Fantasy Football. Happy Wednesday. We are here coming to you live on blogtalkradio.com/bigballsfootball. I'm your host, Greg Reifsteck. I am the beast of the beauty and the beast of fantasy football. And we are going into week 4 of fantasy and the NFL. You can call us live or listen to us on the phone if you can't listen to us on the internet at 646-716-7132. Call in with your fantasy lineup questions and we'll get to you right on the air. Tonight's show is brought to you by Tecate, because it is the cheap Mexican beer at the store down the street. That's right, Tecate. Ask for it by name. Tonight, Jenilee is going to give her real men, the people you need in your lineup this week. I'm going to give you my beast mode segments, 3 beasts that are just trending right now that you need to get in your lineup. Our Green Bay Packer backer PROST is going to call in from San Diego. He's a transplant. He hangs out in the hot tub watching his Packers play. He's going to give us his second one-hit blunder award. Actually, he's doing it a new way. He is giving a prediction of who's going to be the one-hit blunder next week, who you don't want to pick up. He actually did really well last week, so he's going to get to brag this week. He's also going to give us the balls to the wall injury report this week of all of the players that we know are injured, give you some updates, let you know who you can put in your lineup, and Cash and his cash book are going to be calling from Texas. Our Lone Star correspondent is going to give you his gambles of the week. Don't forget to get more Week 4 lineup picks. Tune into our video cast every week at youtube.com/bigballsfootball. That's youtube.com/bigballsfootball. Our new show this week will be up right after we broadcast tonight. We also are going to be rerunning our sketch, The San Diego Chargers Rebuilding Diet, where Smash is on her San Diego Chargers diet, losing pounds while they lose points, and I am on the Bears diet, so I guess you can imagine what I am gaining as they gain points. We've been keeping you up to date every week at facebook.com/bigballsfootball, and you can tweet us during the show at bigballsfball. Sorry, that's facebook.com/bigballsfantasyfootball, and tweet us at bigballsfball. So now that all the plugging is out of the way, I see my lovely co-host on the line here. Hey, Jenilee, happy Wednesday.
Hey, happy Wednesday.
How was your week in football? How was your fantasy week with your teams? I think you're the only person that went undefeated this week, weren't you?
I did really good in fantasy. I did go 3-0 this week, so it was great. I won all of my leagues. But, a couple of them were a little close, so I had to be patient and wait it out through Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do as well because I've run into the same thing everybody else has, injury trouble with players that you drafted in the first round, and on top of that, players that just aren't performing to the level they're supposed to. Stevan Ridley. Hello. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah.
We will. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I think there are quite a few players this year that, so far in the first 3 weeks just have not played up to their expectations. So, the first few weeks have definitely been interesting.
Yeah. I mean, we watched the games together this weekend, and seemed like yesterday. It's been a very quick week, and we saw some really screwed up games. Probably the most screwed up game, and I will get to it in my Beast Mode segment to kind of hopefully save his name, was the 49ers getting blown out by the Colts at home. I mean, you were watching the same game as I was. I mean, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect that at all. San Francisco's defense didn't play like their defense. It just seemed like the Colts were able to run the ball all over them, which is just so unusual. Usually you can't run against the 49ers defense. And I thought they would come back, and really have something to show after that bad Seattle game. Anquan Bolden was one of my picks on the video cast that I had given, and I think he only got maybe 9 points, 8 points, something like that. So it was a really surprising performance by the 49ers and pretty sad.
And then you're going to have people running because there are people that don't watch the games and just play fantasy and just hit the button on Yahoo or NFL or CBS, wherever you're playing, and, wow, Ahmad Bradshaw got a lot of points. I'm going to pick him up off the waiver wire. Well, he did get a lot of points against the 49ers D, but a man named Trent Richardson, who, if you go to our video cast, I am picking him to beast next week because he is just going to go crazy against, an inferior defense. He's going to have a week of practice underneath him, and he on the first snap of that game, he got a touchdown against the Niners. Just boop, I have a touchdown on my new team, the Colts, in the unbelievable, shocking trade of last week, like we talked about. Are there any other games you want to bring up from last week that were a little bit surprising to you?
Well, the Bengals-Green Bay game was a very interesting one. It was unbelievable how many times the Bengals turned the ball over. I think maybe they turned it over 4 times in the first half. So it just seemed like even though they got up early in the game, they were kind of just giving the game away. And then they had to score, very, very late in the game to end up winning that one. So I'm very happy that Green Bay lost, and I guess we can give pro bit about that. But, that was definitely one of those odd games.
Oh, we will. After your segment, we are going to bring Prost on and give him a world of hurt because our Bears are in first place, and we're 3-0. So, and under new management, a quarterback in his contract year that has played suspect year after year with different coaching at the offensive coordinator and at quarterback coach. I mean, I think we're doing great. The other, a few other games to hit on. The Patriots finally bounced back. I mean, it is I did post a picture on the Facebook page that I found, a meme that somebody put out about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. If you're making the Patriots of this year look good and you're letting them beat you 23-3, your Buccaneers defense isn't very good. And you heard the news about their quarterback, right, Jenilee?
Yeah, absolutely. Josh Freeman is not going to be the starter anymore. They've just had a terrible start on offense. And actually, their defense has been keeping them in the games with the exception of that Patriot game. But, their defense hasn't been playing terrible. I know there's a lot of riffraff going on with the players and the head coach. A lot of the players don't really like the head coach. So, their whole team just seems like a little bit of a mess. And it's sad because they have talent. They have Doug Martin, Vincent Jackson, Mike Williams. They have some talent on offense, and it just seems like, with everything going on, those people are not paying off in fantasy quite like they should.
Yeah, I mean, it is pretty. It's pretty sad. They do have a lot of weapons, and I think they might need a change at quarterback to shake it up. And and then if he fails, maybe Freeman will get another chance. But if you have Freeman, bench him just like they're benching him. So on tomorrow night, we're going to be going over to Big Wang's in Hollywood to watch the 49ers take on the Rams, and the Rams were horrible on defense. And again, I'll get to that game and about Colin Kaepernick and his problems and how I think he's going to hopefully I'm knocking on the wood of my coffee table here, reverse them. But we have some other interesting games coming up this week. We have the Giants and the Chiefs, which what the hell has happened to the Giants this year, Jenilee?
It's an offensive line problem. And, you can have the best quarterback in the world, and, we've said it time and time again, you can even have a good running back for that matter. But if you don't have an offensive line that can open up the holes for the running game and that can protect your quarterback to give him enough time to throw, it's just not going to happen. So I think it's going to be another tough outing for Eli and company because Kansas City's defense is playing really good.
What's been really interesting that I've noticed on the waiver wires is David Wilson hasn't been dumped on any waiver wires. People are hanging in there with him, but in at least two of my leagues, all of a sudden Eli Manning is on the waiver wire with all of this, with all the interceptions. And people, you're dumping him and he has 116 points. Do you look at the points that other quarterbacks have on the waiver wire? I mean, somebody that has an inferior quarterback is just going to snatch him up. And when, as you keep saying, Jenilee, and I agree with you, the Giants figure out they're the Giants, they're going to find, he's still putting up points. So I have no idea why anybody's dropping him, but it's really interesting. Then, of course, we need to talk about our divisional matchup this week, the Bears versus the Lions. Jenilee, how many shots and how many beers are we going to drink during this game and just agonize as we just have a shootout during this thing over at while we're watching over at the Tin Horn?
Yeah, the Bears and the Lions games are always very, very physical matchups. I know that their front four is very good. They have a good pass rush. And we handled it when we played the Bengals. Our two young rookie offensive linemen did a good job in that game. But, it's not getting any easier for them this week for sure. And we're playing in Detroit, so it should be a very physical game. And, again, not that there's really an easy win in the NFL, but it's not going to be an easy game to win.
Yeah, I mean, Prost said it best on our Facebook page when he posted up about Burleson and his unfortunate accident. I mean, they're losing yet one more weapon in the receiving core, and Broyles is banged up. And there's news now that one of my beasts this week on the Browns is the Lions are courting him, for crying out loud. Josh Gordon, Megatron is going to be the only one they can pass to. And is Reggie Bush going to come back this week? Maybe, hopefully. We're going to find out from Prost during his injury report. But it's going to be a goddamn tough game, that's for sure. So, Jenilee, are you ready with your beasts? Sorry. I am flipping around with the technical stuff this week, and it's giving me trouble. So, are you ready with your real men? I do the beasts. Are you ready with your real men?
Yes, I am.
All righty, let's roll.
I need a real man. Have you seen him? I haven't found him. Baby, could you be him? Baby, could you be him? I'm sick of searching and always working.
For you guys this week, and and hopefully we're going to be getting you some points. I gave a couple different ones on the video cast, so of course go look at that. I haven't done too bad with my real men this season so far. They're at least getting double-digit points for the most part, but I've had a couple that have completely flopped, or I've just talked about them on the wrong week. I know I talked about DeMarco Murray a week earlier, and he decided to go off the week after. So I'm on the right track at least. So my first real man for you guys this week is Chicago's very own running back, Matt Forte. Now, Detroit so far has given up the most fantasy points to running backs of any team. And if you're in a PPR league, he is already great. He has 18 receptions for 138 yards. So they're definitely using him in the passing game. And like I just kind of mentioned, Detroit does have a good pass rush. So even though our line has been holding up, I know that Cutler might have to get rid of the ball quickly. That's basically what Trestman's been doing with him anyways, is focusing on getting the ball out of Cutler's hands quickly. And if that's the case, I think Forte will be catching some more balls this week. And it just seems that Trestman really knows how to use him. I think he ended up being like the fifth. I think he's the fifth overall running back so far in fantasy after 3 games. So he's definitely a guy that you have to play. What do you think about him, Greg?
I think Forte's great. I got a little worried in the last game on Sunday against the Steelers when we see him, stumble off a little bit. I think we all clutched our heart a little bit, but as long as he stays healthy, he's going to be a stud, and I agree with you. They showed tape of how Cutler is releasing the ball now, and he's holding it closer to his body, and he has better form, and he's releasing it quicker and keeping it closer to his body instead of doing this big old arch that's quarterback coaching, and that's Trestman, and he's the quarterback whisperer. So I love Forte. He's going to throw to him in motion like it's arena football.
Absolutely. So my second real man is wide receiver Pierre Garçon. And I like him this week. I like his matchup. We already know that he's RG3's number one guy, and he already has 23 receptions for 280 yards and 1 touchdown. Oakland is coming off of a short week, and their defense was on the field for most of the game against Denver. So I don't know how healthy their defense is going to be, how rested they're going to be. I think with the traveling and everything, this might be a little bit of a difficult week for their defense. Also, we saw that Peyton Manning and his receivers basically did whatever they wanted against Oakland. And RG3, even though he's been stumbling a little bit and the Redskins are 0-3, he has been passing more this season because I think he's still a little fearful to take off and run like he did last year because of his knee. So he already has 5 passing touchdowns. Garçon's going to be the guy that he looks for, and I know that they're going to go to Oakland really hoping that they can get their first win of the season.
I've been using Pierre Garçon in 2 of my leagues in the flex position, and he has been a stud. That's all I need to say. He's definitely your go-to guy.
Awesome. And then my third real man for you guys is tight end Heath Miller. Now, he is a little bit risky. I'd say he's between a 3 to 4 on the ball scale, but I think he's a good waiver wire pickup. I think he's still out there on most waiver wires, especially if you have Jermichael Finley or Greg Olsen, because they are both on buys this week. He only had 3 catches for 35 yards in his first game back, but they're going to get him a lot more snaps this week since he came out of that game healthy. And they're playing the Vikings, which have given up the second most fantasy points to tight ends. So this is a really good week for him to break out. Both teams are 0-3, so this could end up being a pretty close game since both teams aren't really playing their best football. And the Steelers definitely need a boost since their running game is pretty much non-existent. So I just think that he's going to be that guy that Big Ben can look for again, especially when he's running out of time in the pocket.
I think he was the one that kept them in the game with us, and he got some really good catches in the Bears game against us on Sunday. And, I mean, he has great run protection for what little running they're going to try to do. And, yeah, I mean, I wish I could find Heath Miller on some of my waiver wires, Jenilee, because I have Greg Olsen, and I only have one tight end in the few of my leagues. And I went looking, and, you know, I had to pick up, you know, a few cookie-cutter tight ends, but, you know, we'll make do. But I think Heath Miller is coming off the bench in most teams because – I mean, he's been sitting there. People have been waiting for him to be uninjured.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think this is a great matchup for him this week.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Great 3 picks there, Jenilee. Thank you for those. I am going to, first of all, I want to bring up the fact that bye weeks are starting this week, and as you said, it's Carolina and Green Bay. And when we say Green Bay, who do we bring on but Prost from the transplant from San Diego? How's it going, buddy?
What's up?
Hey.
Another fun and exciting week.
Yeah. A big loss, a big loss for you late in the game. Loving it. Jenilee, you have anything to lay on him?
Oh, just how does it feel that the Bears are actually 3-0 and leading the division?
What week is it?
It's going into week 4. Yeah.
Okay, let me ask me again in week 16.
Well, it's okay because we were able to beat the Bengals in week 1, and you weren't able to beat the Bengals. So, hey, man, Bengals are a good team. If you can't beat them, I don't know who else you're going to beat, dude.
You know what? I talked up the Bengals defense when I was talking down Starks last week, and you know what can I tell you? I've never seen so many passes batted down against Rodgers.
Yeah,
he had a lot of passes batted down. Just the offense looked out of sync. Something wasn't right. I mean, defense is giving them the ball, they had plenty of opportunities, and they just could not convert them. And I think a lot of it had to do with Cincinnati's play. I'm really surprised the league hasn't looked into them yet. A lot of helmet to helmet, a lot of shots to the knees. I mean, you knocked out 3 guys in the game. You know, it's just, it was one of those, if you can't knock them out things, and they won by attrition. We wound up with a 4'8", you know, draft pick rookie running back running the ball on 4th and goal and fumbling it, and that was the game.
After he had a damn good fantasy game, though, Franklin had a great fantasy game, and he's going to be I think he's going to be a damn good third down back for you guys. And Smash was talking him up in her segment, so you know, hey, I think you guys got lucky picking him up from UCLA. I see on the line, and we're not going to get to pile on you too many weeks, Pro, so if you'll excuse me, I got to bring the other Bears fan on our podcast. Hey, Cash, how's it going?
Good, guys. How are you?
We're good. We have Prost here.
We're Bears. You
and
don't need
take
to
the Cubs and Sox with you. Bears, take the Cubs and Sox with you.
This season, yes, you could take both the Cubs and the Sox with you. Yeah. What's baseball? And there was no baseball in Chicago this season. There wasn't any. How you doing? How was your weekend? How was your weekend fantasy, Cash? Well, I got us all together. We have the biggest balls of them all league, and unfortunately, Prost. Your Packers aren't winning, but damn it, you're leading our freaking league 3-0 for crying out loud.
There was no doubt in my mind about that. And like I said, with your Bears, wait till week 16. And I might be the Dolphins of fantasy football.
Yeah.
Just call me the 72 Dolphins. That's all. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, in Trash Bowl, and Prost, I'm playing you this week in our Trash Bowl league.
My weekly bye. Awesome.
Oh, F you. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. Somebody's making a lot of noise in the background there. Anyway, in our league, you're leading and you're doing really well. And I mean, what do you attribute that to? I mean, what do you think you've been doing that the rest of us haven't been doing that has gotten you by?
I attribute it to Peyton Manning. Pretty much. That, and I've been lucky to survive injuries. I've got so far I've had playing what I come to.
Yeah. I mean, that is the key on a lot of fantasy teams. In a few of my leagues, I drafted the right people. I drafted the people that were supposed to go off, and there's just a ton of injuries. So, and it's just been a crazy season. Jenilee, you're up there with me in the league. What do you have to say about your record in our biggest balls of them all league? You are sitting with 2-1 with me. We have Jason at 2-1. We have you at 2-1. We have me at 2-1, and we have Cash and Steven at 2-1. We have a tight lead here. What do you have to say for your team?
Well, I should be 3-0. The second week of the season, my team did not perform like they're supposed to, but they got back on track this week. So I'm happy to have, a winning record for sure, but I think that they're just going to keep getting better. So look out, pros.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm going to horse tackle Prost from behind as he's going out of bounds this week, and they're not going to call a penalty on me, and I'm going to get him down to at least 3-1, so it can be manageable. Rounding out the rest of the league.
Drew Brees got me 65 points, so
Yeah. I think you're going to be good this week with him again. Rounding out the league. Just you can go to BigBallsFantasyFootball.com and look on our league page. But just to round it out, we also in seventh place is Reels Mania. Raheel Cash brought him into our league. Ryan and the ex-presidents. Both of those teams are at 1 and 2, and then unfortunately in the basement we have the girls. Smash, Cash Dollar Millionaires at 0-3, and our Patriots correspondent AJ with 0-3, bringing up the basement. So, is it okay with everybody if I beast out for a minute here and give my beast mode picks? Everybody ready for Godzilla?
Yeah, absolutely.
Godzilla. So the reason I gathered you all here today is so you can laugh, and you're either going to laugh in my face after this week, or I'm going to look like a genius. And that's what I love about sports radio and podcasting is, you make a prediction and you see how it falls. On our video cast in the preseason, and just like everybody else, we all had a hard-on for Kaepernick. We all had a hard-on for the read option, and we thought RG3 and Kaepernick were going to go off. And everybody in their drafts took one or two of them, at least in the first 5 rounds, as their quarterback. And he put up ballin' numbers up against Prost's team week 1, and then has failed to perform the next 2 weeks. I am predicting here my first beast of the week is going to be Kaepernick, because they are playing against the Rams defense, who have just been piss poor this season. I think after his struggle, he's going to fight back. He's been playing. Last week the Colts defense, yes, they were suspect. He had 150 yards and a pick, against the Colts. He had 3 picks at Seattle, but that's Seattle. Everybody plays like crap in Seattle. So I think he is going to come back. Harbaugh needs to just redesign the offense for him. He had it designed so he was going to use the read option and run him, and he hasn't been running him. That's what he does. So he doesn't have the weapons. He doesn't have Vernon Davis. He doesn't have all of the weapons that he was supposed to have, Mario Manningham and all them. So he needs to redesign it so he's throwing balls to running backs out of the outfield, to Frank Gore, something, and get it going. So everybody, come on, give me your best shot on Kaepernick. How crazy do you think I am this week?
Prost, do you want to tell him?
I honestly, going back, of course, last year was last year, and I feel about looking at last year's stats. St. Louis swept San Francisco in some very low-scoring games last year. It's going to be a battle. I'd be interested to see how that works out. I don't know why Kaepernick got figured out in week 2 after Green Bay's defense spent the entire offseason studying him, but something happened. Someone's got enough tape on him and has got him figured out now, and he's having struggles. That's definite.
Jenilee, you have anything to say to me?
Well, it's just San Fran has always been such a good running team, and I know that Frank Gore was definitely complaining, on not getting the touches that he wanted. So maybe if they could get their running game going, that would help Kaepernick out a little bit.
I agree. It will take the pressure off. I mean, only 11 handoffs to Gore. That was ridiculous. I mean, you get too pass happy, you end up looking like, oh, wouldn't that be Jenilee the Mike Martz Bears offense? Wouldn't that be that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cash, you have anything to lay on me with Kaepernick? Am I? Do you think I'm going to be right? Or do you think I'm going to be wrong?
I'm going to go with what Prost just mentioned about, Rams playing them tough, and it's a home game as well, too. I expect it to be a battle. I think it's one of the 2 marquee games this week, other than the Chicago-Detroit one, too. Players go through struggles sometimes, and, it is very surprising to see that. There's still people who are trying to trade, even in my league, trying to trade for Kaepernick in spite of his struggles. I just think he needs to work it out, and he's a young guy, and it may take a couple more games for him to work that out. But I think come week 8, week 9, he's definitely, by that time, I think it's going to be more like the old Kaepernick.
Well, I hope he does it this week. I'm hoping it happens this week. So we will see what happens. Okay, back down to earth. My beast, number 2, Josh Gordon of the Browns, against the Vikings, 10 for 19, 146, and a touchdown. He has a 22-yard average per catch. He's Hoyer's favorite new target. Just got back. He is beasting. I think he is going to be. They need to pass, for crying out loud, because they dumped Richardson. So now they're going into a different mode, and they ended up, beating the Vikings last week. It was insane. Jenilee, we were watching. We saw this score, and we were just like, "Are you kidding me?" I mean, wasn't this a shocker to you, Jenilee?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't think that anybody picked the Browns to win. But, again, awesome for us Bears that the Vikings lost.
What, somebody picked them last week? Who? Did somebody say something?
Yeah, it was Minnesota's secondary, dude. I mean, come on. Minnesota, the offense can put up no points, and the secondary can stop no one. I'd like to see Minnesota play the Giants. That'd be a hell of a game. You have to DVR to see who you'd fall asleep halfway through it, but it would be an interesting game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're going to have to pass this week anyway against Cincinnati because we know their run defense is hardcore. So, I mean, I say you go with Josh. It's a 2 balls pick. You go with the trends and you ride it. And of course, all my Bears brothers and sisters are going to love this. My final beast of the week is the Bears defense. it's going to be a shootout against the Lions, I know, and that's usually fantasy poison. But even though it's going to be a shootout, the reason it's going to be that way is because Jay might struggle a little bit. Our running game might struggle a little bit. I'm sorry to say that, Jenilee, but, I know Forte is going to get at least 100 yards. But, scoring is going to be back and forth like it always is. And we're going to get the turnovers. Major Wright ran one back last week against the Steelers. Tim Jennings has pick six earlier this season already. We had 5 turnovers last week. We've just gone off. All of the players have said Trestman has stressed, just like Lovie Smith, the same philosophy. You have to get the turnovers, and we're going to win games. And they just practice them in drills over and over again, and they've been getting them. And I've been getting tons of points in 3 of my leagues with the Bears defense, and it's not going to end. So you got to go with the Bears D this week. And I don't think my Bears brothers and sisters are going to disagree with me. Prost, you like that pick too, don't you? Because it's a bye week, right?
Oh yeah, no, I got a couple of guys at the VFW club there. They're telling me, oh yeah, you have to watch the Lions Bears. We're gonna see. I'm like, you know what? I honestly, I don't care for the Lions that much because they're in our division, and I'm from Wisconsin, so anything bear-wise is required by Wisconsin state law to suck. So I'm just gonna sit there and basically be like, yes, you got beaten. Oh yes, you suck too. And it's gonna be a fantasy game, I guess. I'm just gonna hope my fantasy boys go up because honestly, it's a lose-lose situation for me because someone's gonna win and stay, another half game ahead of the Packers until they get back on the field again.
Definitely.
Let's see what happens.
Well, while we're on you, let's get to it. Let's get to last week, your one-hit blunder. You have a lot to gloat about, man. You predicted how bad he was going to do, didn't you?
Well, and it threw away my wheelhouse. It was a Packer. Made life real easy for me. It's just that's the one team that I can tell you backwards, forwards, inside, and out what's going to happen. I didn't expect him to get injured, but I knew he wasn't going to do anything. And then you send in Franklin.
Who is that?
James Starks.
Yeah.
Starks. You send in Franklin, and he reminds me of Sproles. He's just a little dude. I didn't realize he was that short until I saw him running. I'm like, wow, they just can't find this kid, and he's quick. But he doesn't know how to pass block, so his future outside of a third down back is pretty much limited. It's going to be Lacey back in there and Starks again, carrying the majority of the ball. And just to touch real quick, I know I just bashed the Lions a second ago, and you were talking about people dropping Manning. Not the Lions, the Giants. The Giants are the Giants. They suck it in the first half of the season, and then they bring it on and start winning and scoring points towards the end of the year when it's the most important for your fantasy team. You want a team that's going to go off weeks 14 through 16, So don't get too crazy about dropping your Giants just yet. Hang on to them. Put them on the back burner and save them for a bye week.
Good tip there.
Getting back to the one-hit blunders, I'm running through the little carousel of quarterbacks we have here. Pryor's probably going to be out with concussion protocol in Oakland, which puts Matt Flynn in. The perennial backup who just needs to realize his station in life goes to new teams and still can't become a starter. So, he's in. There's a ton of tape on him. He's not very mobile. You may want to back off of him. You got Glennon, who's going in place of Freeman. I prefer him for the only reason that he's a film room student, and there's no tape on the kid outside of college. Therefore, he might be someone to look at actually picking up off the waiver wire and stashing, which brings me to the Whedon-Hoyer setup. Hoyer looked great last week against Minnesota with no real tape on him. Now they got to get game tape on him. They let him test these. You see what he's doing. Which brings me to we'll see who gets to gloat next week, Mr. Beast. I've taken Josh Gordon, who touched the ball for the first time all year against Minnesota's D, to be my one-hit blunder. I don't think he's going to be going off this week. He might play out later in the week, But don't grab him off the waiver wire today and throw him in against Cincinnati. I'm telling you. So one of us gets to have a really good time next week.
I love it. I love a good soap opera. This is great. These are the days of our lives. This is awesome. Yeah, next week we will see how Josh Gordon has done. Hey, here's a friendly wager. When we see each other next time, whoever wins a shot of Dr. McGillicuddy's. What do you think?
Man, if I can find it in Cali, I'd be all over that. That sounds good.
All right. So we have our one-hit blunder. Any significant injury updates you want to give us for this week?
Yeah, like I said, I try to avoid the questionables and probables because they're going to be playing. There's no point in wasting time on them. You're there on Sunday morning. If it happens where a guy winds up being knocked out, you go to our site, you check your report, and you see who's actually on the bench, even though they were supposed to play. But most notable injuries, I'm back to prior with his concussion. Chris Ivory's got a hamstring for the Jets. He's looking kind of doubtful, actually. They're prepping Khalil, what's his name? He's flying off the waiver wire. They're back up for the Jets. But I have brain fade right now.
Powell?
Yeah. They're jumping all over him because Ivory's probably going to be sitting out.
Yeah, it's Bilal Powell, yeah.
Yeah, Bilal Powell, yeah. Christian Ponder is hurting. They're actually talking about Matt Castle getting a start in Minnesota. Andre Johnson's questioning his shin injury. He's got a boo-boo. He's having an off year anyway. He pretty much disappointed me as far as things go. And then we got our pizza guy. He's going to be out till November, which is going to affect your Detroit game because Broyles, not so high on him. Megatron's going to get, safety help over the top now. Maybe a Detroit tight end will help out the game, but not looking good there for the Lions.
Yeah, definitely a gamble there. And God, how about this segue? Speaking of gambles, hey Cash, sorry to keep you waiting for so long.
No problem.
But I'm gonna give you the short intro this week. We'll give you the three cash book salute there, and are you ready to give us your gambles of the week?
I am, but I do have a couple of comments on your beast mode actually. It's amazing how a player goes from a sleeper to a beast so quickly. Because I had Josh Gordon as a sleeper last weekend.
I know.
But it's I wouldn't be surprised if that's somebody. If Kaepernick does get into more trouble. And there's some rumors about Cleveland making, putting players in the trading block. I wouldn't be surprised if that's another trade that could happen in the next couple of weeks where, they could jettison Gordon off to the 49ers. Who knows? Stay tuned on that. That's some great analysis there. I mean, there are a lot of teams, according to different sources on the internet, saying, everybody's looking at him because he just came back and he's hot and he's a viable body. So I like that analysis. Yeah, and I think if he's a motivated person, which I think he is, this is a big weekend for him because he's going to basically, I think it's going to go against him, but he's going to be opposite AJ Green, so to speak, and he could really has another big game to really put him on the map. So that's a big one. And I actually will say that I will, as much as I don't want to, I do see that the Bears defense may be in for a fall this weekend. It's one of those games where what? Yeah. What? They may get a pick or two, but this is a huge game. If somehow the Bears can win, but I do see somehow the Lions coming out on top. It's a critical NFC Central showdown. Every year the Lions have something happen to them, and maybe this year will be too. But I think this is something that's going to be a game that's going to be more important to the Lions than it is to the Bears. And somehow, it's a game I even see Jay Cuttle throwing 4 touchdown passes. But somehow I think Lions come up on top, and the Bears defense, especially with the Henry Melton injury, they're getting used to it. The pass rush hasn't really been there except for the blitzing. We saw them vulnerable last week. The game should have been over.
Okay, Lord, okay.
Well, see, that's what I like, though, is a fantasy man who's not afraid to make a non-homer pick. I bashed starts last week, and I was right. We'll see. Cash makes a lot of valuable points.
Moving on to the
you do make a lot of sense. Jenilee, you're still here? Will you please just give him a virtual punch in the stomach for me, so we can say he got hit by a girl, a bear.
Stop putting the bad juju out there.
Thank you very
much.
Okay, moving on. Give us your three gambles.
Moving on. So my number one gamble of the week, since we're talking about it a little bit, who I think will have a big game is Ryan Broyles, basically subbing in for Nate Burleson, who's somehow still chasing down his pizza or whatever he was doing. But it's he's got a lot of talent. He had some few good games last year. And I think he's going to inject a lot of energy into the Lions offense. And we saw the Bears secondary hurting. Charles Tillman was under wraps a little bit. I just get the feeling that the matchups somewhat still favor the Lions on their offensive side, and I think a lot of focus will be on Calvin Johnson, which they have to. And I think that's going to free up Broyles probably for a couple of big plays.
Cash, when you visit here to the West Coast, you can go stay with Prost. Okay, I'm just letting you know right now. All right, you go down to San Diego. It's nicer down there than L.A. Less smog. You can go hang out with him. That's my comment.
Works for me. The man's honest. I'm sorry.
I forgot to lead off with this, but there was some late breaking news and. Small moment of silence for the San Diego Chargers folks, but it was noted that it was Paul Oliver, I believe, who was a former San Diego Chargers. He committed suicide, I guess, the last couple of days. So my condolences to his family and the San Diego Chargers fans and organization as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. My number two gamble is, with what we saw from the Bears last week, and I think, they let Pittsburgh get back in, and Pittsburgh doesn't seem like still like a team who's going to be hurting quite a while for them. It's not going to be a great year for them. But Ben Roethlisberger had a pretty good game. He gets Le'Veon Bell back, and who could very well be starting. I think that's going to have that impact, kind of a waterfall impact on the offense where, with a complementary run game, Pittsburgh has showed they have great receivers. And again, it's noted before, they are playing against the Vikings. So I do see Roethlisberger having a great game. So if you're somebody who had Aaron Rodgers or Cam Newton and didn't take a secondary quarterback, which would make sense, go out and grab him. Grab him now, and I think you'll have a pretty good chance of coming out on top this week.
Jenilee, you talk to him. I can't talk to Cash right now. I can't. I'm too angry. He knows I'm just giving him. He knows I'm just giving him shit. But Jesus.
Yeah, no, I think against the Vikings, he's a great quarterback to pick up and get through this bye week. And I picked Heath Miller to have a good week, so that would go hand in hand.
Cool. My third pick, and I think it's somebody we've been talked about before too. I think, in fact, Jenilee, I think you had brought him up a couple of weeks ago. But Kendall Tompkins, I think, will do really well going forward. He has struggled the past 2-3 weeks, and he has a number of targets, but he only caught a couple of passes here and there. Though, he did have 2 touchdowns. I believe it was last weekend. But in general, he has struggled. But I think with Danny Amendola coming back possibly, as well as Gronk, I think the focus will be on one or both of those guys, and I think it's going to free him up. I think the experience of being one of the more featured receivers on offense is going to serve him well. And I think he's going to be the kind of guy who, because secondary will be focusing on the other 2 or 3 players, he's going to have at least one easy touchdown this particular game.
I like it. And AJ, our Patriots correspondent, gives a wonderful profile this week in our video cast at youtube.com/BigBallsFootball. And what frightens me about the Patriots and Darth Vader, and this is why he's Darth Vader, is they've looked like crap the first 3 games, and guess what their record is? It's the same as the Bears. They're 3-0. They haven't lost. So now that he's figured out how to make all these pieces gel, yes, the receivers are going to take off. And then when they get back Gronk and Amendola for his 2 weeks on and off, it's going to work out. It really sucks. But three really awesome gambles there. Thank you, Cash, for your report. We have about 9 minutes left. Does anybody have any FYIs they'd like to throw out there? Let's go ladies first. Jenilee, do you have any to throw out there?
FYI, Miami is not as good as people think. I know that their record shows that they're 3-0, but I'm not yet a believer. So I think they're the one team that I don't think they're going to keep going on this same route.
I will jump on next. FYI, I don't think the Giants are in as deep of a hole as Charlie Sheen is or was and, isn't anymore. I mean, I'm going to use Charlie Sheen this season, Jenilee, because Lindsay Lohan was last season. So we're going to keep it Hollywood and use washed-up movie stars and TV stars. I mean, Eli has won Super Bowls. He doesn't suck this bad. He doesn't have a line. If Coughlin doesn't figure it out, he's going to get fired. But, something needs to be done. But FYI, I don't think the Giants are as bad as they are coming off, and I think they're going to, as everybody else and as Prost pointed out, second half of the season, and as Jenilee is pointing out too, they're going to find themselves in the second half of the season. Prost,
I got a quick one. I'm sure he's heard it in the clubhouse, and if I had his number, I'd take care of it. Maybe one of our listeners can hook it up. Nate Wilson, dude, 99.5% of the pizza joints in the world deliver. You don't need to pick it up yourself. You can have it brought to you by someone that has it safely anchored in the car where it doesn't slide around. I want to know the real story. I honestly do. You mean tell me Pizza's telling he broke his arm? I don't know, dude. I want to know the backstory, where those pizzas were lodged or something. I don't know.
Cash, before you give your FYI, I have to at least give a ceremonial, since we only have a few minutes, a ceremonial partial song to him for being that stupid. It's the same thing that players do. Guess what, guys? I'll give a little FYI here. You have a pickup service. Your team, you call a number. There's a limo. They come and pick you up. They take you places. You're rock stars. You're NFL players. You don't need to drive drunk. Guess what? You don't need to go get your pizza. So guess what you did? Yeah, that's what you did. That's exactly what you did. Thank you very much. Cash, you have any FYI, shit the beds?
Yeah,
anything?
Just real quick, noting that game with Pittsburgh and Minnesota from Wembley Stadium, there's been some talks. For a while, there's been some speculation about a team abroad, possibly in London. And I think in a lot of ways, I think it would be a great idea. The warrior in all of us is not just the U.S. There's other places the game is played and watched all over the world, and I think London would be a great starting point for something more global. However, I know a lot of, it can be served as a distraction, and, the long flights, and, can you imagine somebody like a Seattle or Oakland making that track out there? So So a lot of details would have to be worked out, what fairness would be, or maybe a team that would go play there would have would skip the Sunday and play on Thursday or something to that effect. So, but that is something kind of exciting. But I don't see it until at least another 5 years from now.
Jenilee, what do you think of a team in Europe?
I just think the traveling is going to be difficult. I mean, they're already on the short schedule with the Thursday night games and stuff like that. So I just don't know how they would make that work where the games would be actually, fun to watch, where the games would actually be close. So I mean, maybe they could do it if teams were coming off their bye week, if they had two teams playing each other that came off their bye week, but that's the only way I can think it would work.
Well, I'm going to pile on here a little bit with that. I mean, first, the greedy NFL puts in Thursday night football, so we can almost have football every day of the damn week. And then, I mean, even before they're talking about, I mean, they had NFL Europe and PROST. We watched that all the time and know that was the farm team for the NFL for many years. They've been trying to sell Europe or sell another continent on us for a while. But, I mean, you're talking about just greed here, and I've been hearing, we all hear these rumblings about, an 18-week season, for crying out loud. I mean, I know it is the new America's pastime over baseball, but just like America's pastime baseball, the reason people have gotten away from it is because people are playing baseball in the rain and the cold and the snow in October. It sucks. Just don't do it. Don't extend the damn season. Don't get a team out of the country. Keep it the National Football League. Keep it in America, and that's my soapbox. Prost.
I'm on with you purely because, dude, it's 3 time zones from the West Coast to the East Coast. From New York or anywhere on the East Coast to London, it's a 5 time zone jump. And if they go out to Seattle, you're talking 8 time zones you got to travel. And you listen to people, and I'm sure there's theories around it, but they say your body needs 1 day for every time zone to recover from jet lag. So, I mean, that's why these teams go over there and they get a bye afterwards. How are you going to put a team in London and not, I don't get to travel. I have to work that out somehow.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Unless they get to use the Virgin, space, plane that they have and get Virgin to sponsor it, that'll work maybe. If they bring the
two quick thoughts on that. I mentioned, Greg, NFL money. There's a way to make money in it. NFL will find it, and the transportation, Hyperloop. And if you don't know what that is, let's Google it.
Okay. Explain the Hyperloop to us. You have 1 minute. I'm not kidding.
It's basically on a bed of air. It's kind of like Star Trek. It's by the guy Elam. I forget his name, but he's the founder of Tesla. He founded eBay, and it's something very real, actually. If a lot of the U.S. government and some of the other governments kind of buy into it, it will cut down time from, say, San Francisco to L.A. to 45 minutes instead of 6 hours.
Damn, Jenilee, and you thought we didn't have anything besides football on this show. We just got educated, didn't we?
Absolutely.
Anyway, the science guy.
I know. All right, we got a minute. I'm going to play the theme. Jenilee, thank you for all of your wonderful Real Men picks, and we'll see you next week. Prost, awesome. Get in the hot tub. Or you're going to pool now, right?
I'm going to the pool, yeah. I got to shoot 8 ball here in a few minutes.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Cash, thank you for your opinions and for the science lesson. And we'll be asking you some quantum physics questions next week.
No problem. Go Bears, and bring down the Sioux.
All right, everybody. Go Bears. Fuck you, Sioux. And good night.
Later.
Your balls are showing.
There are 2 types of balls. There are big brave balls, and there are little meat balls. dicks have drive and clarity of vision.
The most important piece of equipment is called the cup. Now, it ain't no Dixie cup, and it ain't no coffee mug. And you certainly won't want to be drinking nothing out of it.
Hey, any balls down there? About the biggest bear you ever seen, Dingleberry.
Wow, what kind of baseball's all day?
Well, it's my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.